Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back if you're listening on the podcast. We have a pretty special guest here today. This is Charlie with Free to Grow. This is an AI appointment setting software specifically designed for home service businesses. And, Charlie, welcome. Pleasure. Thank you for joining us here today.
It's been great getting to know you. I appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Of course, man. AI is kind of something that I feel like people either love it or they hate it. There's kind of a love-hate relationship with it. Um, where do you kind of see that sort of d developing? Like, are people kind of coming around to the idea?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's constantly moving, I would say. And just so for the listeners, for some color, Free to Grow, we built this business, started about 5 years ago. And we were initially kind of an outsourced CSR business. I owned and operated a home service company, sold that business in 2019, started Free to Grow almost simultaneously when I sold my home service business. And we had live CSRs answering phones and booking appointments and kind of being that fractional CSR. March and April of this year, we heard an AI voice recording on a Facebook group and made a 180 pivot into AI and AI voice answering. And as you said, booking estimates and appointments and CRM management. And it's been a wild ride to say the least. And I would say, to answer your question, generally the attitude is getting warmer and warmer for AI voice in for this particular service. Now,
Okay.
excuse me, AI, I know it can be a catch-all, and you turn on the TV or every other ad now is something AI related. And I know that you order a pizza these days, and sometimes that could be through AI, or you go through drive-through, it's AI. So it's becoming more ubiquitous,
Yeah.
which I think is good. Um, I still think there's some generally there are some negative connotations. Okay. I think you get, if we're talking kind of home services, I think there's home service owner operators that maybe had initially a bad experience with AI or
Mhm.
didn't wow them, and
Okay.
they kind of stick with that, not fully comprehending that, it's not, it's coming, it's not there yet, but it's
Yeah.
improving.
Yeah.
Um, I think if I had to look at my crystal ball, I think over time it's going to become more and more generally acceptable and appreciated,
Okay.
to put a bow on it.
Yeah, I had my first experiences with the AI pizza delivery, and that was pretty cool. And
Yeah,
they gave me that option. It was like, hey, do you want to try our AI bot, and we'll give you $3 off or something? And I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. And I thought
yeah,
it was fine. I went to the Taco Bell drive-through. That was AI for the first time.
yeah,
That was pretty
yeah.
cool. What exactly, I think it would be kind of cool to kind of hone in on this. Like, what exactly is your AI doing on the phone, and where's it at now, and like where do you kind of see it going? Like, is it fielding calls? Is it answering questions, booking
Yeah,
appointments,
yeah,
qualifying? Like, what does it do?
yeah. So a great question. So I mean, all the above, right? We right now, I'd say that the lion's share of our AI voice clients are using our AI voice technology for after hours, overflow, weekends, etc., holidays. Um, it's very capable answering the phone, building a script, sticking to the script. We can integrate with over 12 CRMs. And so the popular ones like a Drip Jobs or a Service Titan or House Call Pro or Field Pulse, et cetera. That's a key component, is being able to integrate. So anything from taking a call, booking a call, populating information into a CRM, we're starting to get more exposure and more of an entree into outbound calling
Mhm.
over time, and it's still kind of new, but like appointment follow-ups, stuff like that, rescheduling, et cetera, will be kind of a domain that isn't quite there, but will be there for AI. But a lot of the stuff that our former CSRs used to do is kind of
Mhm.
what we transitioned our AI voice tool to do. Um, I still think it's not a one-to-one replacement by any means for a CSR. I know that can be kind of a touchy subject for a lot of people, and I get it. I do think, looking, to where this technology is going, I think as far as answering the phone and booking and scheduling and conversing like we're conversing now, for a majority of the calls where people, their garage door breaks or their plumbing breaks or they need somebody out there, it's going to be enormously effective. And oftentimes we're seeing that now. We have clients that we're booking over 70% of their calls. And, you listen to some calls, you're like, wow, that's frighteningly good.
Yeah.
Where that could have sounded like, a former CSR of mine conversing like we're conversing now.
Yeah.
We have those conversations daily. And
Yeah.
then certainly on the negative side, you get calls where somebody picks up that it's AI and they're like, connect me right now to a human. I don't want to do this, right? I want to talk to somebody right now. And I think for the people that are doing that, I don't think they're generally fully comprehending how capable the AI is.
Yeah.
I just think they think it's some sort of general answering machine and they want to talk to a human, not knowing that this AI tool could probably book that call just as fast, if not faster.
Yeah. I definitely see that. I mean, kind of reminds me of like when you call into somewhere back in the day, you'd have to answer, press one for this department.
Sure.
Nobody wants to go through that long thing, especially if,
Nobody.
if you're going through a problem, if there's like an active flood happening in my house, like I do not want to do that. I want to talk to somebody as soon as possible.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
Most people do. And certainly there's demographics where right now, from what we see, some of the older demographics, if they pick up its AI, they're like, no, I want to talk to somebody. But, younger generations, I think you mentioned, your analogy of the drive-through or the ordering pizza, you're okay with that kind of
Yeah,
transactional experience with AI. And
yeah.
I think we'll start to see that as a percent of, where the market's going, people be more and more okay with that as a solution.
So, what are some of the industries that this kind of excels in? Would that be more like direct problem solution, or like, for example, that would be if your AC goes out. Uh,
Mhm.
that's more of a direct problem solution type industry, opposed to like, painting or renovation or remodeling. Like nobody needs a remodeled kitchen, but like it's more so like something that they want. Are there any, kind of industries that you guys are better in or worse in, or how does that all look?
I think over time, the AI technology will kind of structure itself how the industry wants it. Okay. I think right now you nailed it. I think the calls where you've got to be responsive and get a technician out there quickly, the HVAC, the plumbing, the electrical, the water restoration, etc., seem to be quicker as far as adopting this than others. Not
Yeah.
to say that's good or bad. And call volume typically for those industries is much higher generally, right? The big HVAC companies that we support are getting hundreds, thousands of calls a week,
Yeah.
right? Um, and they're typically people calling. They need a technician. We can pull up AI can pull up the CRM scheduling system they're using, identify an opening, suggest openings, and say, got it, that works, book it, done, next. Um, over time as we, get into like, we do support painting clients. It's certainly a softer phone call, just kind of getting how the painter wants it or the owner wants it. Maybe we book an estimate, book an appointment.
Yeah.
It's not this like I need somebody out here Friday at 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
right? Um, so it's a good point. I, I think one thing we see a lot, Caleb, is that every owner operator wants the AI technology to function a little bit unique to his or her business, right? They all have their CRMs, which they use uniquely, and then they'll listen to a call. We spend about 2 or 3 weeks onboarding,
Yeah.
and we do a week or so of testing where our client onboarding manager will test the system, make sure there's no glaring glitches, and then the owner operator will get into our testing environment and do a couple of days of testing where they know what kind of calls coming in and they know how it should go and almost down to a person. Everybody's a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
They want their little nuance.
Yeah.
And I certainly think as we get more industry, it's like CRMs, right? In home services, right? You have CRMs that are focused more on the painter or more on the roofer, or they get the service titans that are more on the HVAC. I think we'll see some kind of splits here with AI voice technology focusing on those little verticals
Yeah.
over time.
Okay. That makes sense. A- And are you guys kind of going to be focusing on one or the other, or
Yeah, I think right now we're very much a general AI voice solution for home services only.
okay?
We had this is kind of back to, excuse me, the free to grow days where we were just doing home services. And so that was more or less all encompassing. I think probably over time it may start to segment itself, but right now, we've got a dozen CRMs that we support, and that is driving us. And certainly those CRMs are supporting everything from the painter to the pest control to the fencing to the HVAC, plumbing, So we're kind of that whole gamut. Not to say over time that may segment itself, but right now we're very much in the general column.
Okay. Now, I want to talk a little bit about like lead qualifying. Uh,
Mhm.
a lot of people that we work with, we noticed that they really like to qualify the leads pretty good. They want to make sure they're the right fit, they're in their service area, all these other things. Um, what are you guys kind of doing on the phone, or what would that situation look like to kind of qualify that lead
Yeah.
uh, to make sure it's a good fit?
That's a great question. That's going to all be done in onboarding and how you want the AI to work through workflows and or scripting.
Okay.
Okay. I think a big benefit is with AI is the qualification, right? You can set certain zip codes. You can introduce general pricing, service pricing. For example, we get a lot of HVAC after hours emergency calls where we can say, okay, this is going to be 299 or whatever the service fee is. Are you okay with that, right? And so in a way, that's qualifying. If somebody's like, nope, I'm not doing that, then that technician is not going to be dispatched.
Yeah.
The same would go for a construction business or a painting business where you want to qualify a lead. There is endless possibilities. And if I can send you calls, Caleb, you can share with your listeners where you can see the AI going through certain qualifiers. Well, what's the zip code? Okay, here's rough pricing if you want to introduce rough pricing. It depends on how owners want that done, but that's being done now is that kind of general qualifying.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you think so? It kind of sounds like the AI can pretty much handle most inbound calls right now, right? Like, okay.
Yeah, correct.
Now,
I mean, I still think people are sensitive with like payment information.
mm,
I think people want to talk to people for certain things,
okay.
and and we have very good call transfer scripts where it'll pick up on certain buzzwords like I want to talk to Caleb, the owner, or I want to do this. And then the AI may try again and say, okay, sure, I can get this book for no, 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 no. I want to talk to Caleb. I got it. Understand. Here's Caleb. And then it'll ring to your cell phone. So there's a lot of things we can do to introduce, proper transferring after we qualify it, right?
Yeah.
Um, so, so yeah.
Okay. Now, I feel like the next step, and correct me if I'm wrong here, would be kind of like further into like outbound. That would be maybe, hey, a spot opened up in our schedule. Would you like to bump up your service? Or, hey, we saw that you filled out our form. Are you interested in getting a project done? Or something like that, some form of outbound. Is that kind of the next step? And, if so, like, what does that look like?
I think so. I think it's going to be we're doing some pilots with some bigger HVAC companies where we'll outbound call 300 clients every day. We'll pull client information from a service titan
Yeah.
and then just place 300 calls at once to see if people are interested in joining their gold membership plan or this plan for the winter or whatever. Um, I think it's too early to tell. We have a lot of data now for how people respond to inbound, and
Mhm.
that people are getting warmer and warmer to talking and engaging with AI. It's too early for me to comment on outbound, at least for us, because we just don't have we don't have enough large enough sample size.
Yeah.
I think people are going to be, when you pick up and you go to Google and you dial a number, you know who you're calling, right? If you take an outbound call, there's going to be this element of skepticism, I think.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see how it plays out. I do over time think it's going to be good for certain things, like maybe, service rescheduling, rescheduling in general, technicians on the way, maybe doing some happy calls, stuff like that. I just don't know big picture if the general public's going to be okay with, giving credit card information to a known AI bot. I just think there's going to be like,
Yeah. I
we'll
gotcha.
see.
Okay.
Um,
Now, to my understanding, which is not nearly as much as yours, obviously, uh, AI is kind of one of those things that's like garbage in, garbage out. If you feed it
mhm.
info, it's not going to perform the way you want it to. So that would be like the business owner having to really kind of work with you guys to tweak how they want it to sound, how they want it to handle situations. Is that kind of true?
Yeah, I'd
Okay.
say that's very much true. Um, give you a good example today. So, HVAC client, we had an onboarding call an hour ago, and the owner, his name is Jeff, called in and said, was testing it and said, "This is Jeffrey, or this is Jeff. I need to book an appointment." And the AI said, "Okay, Jeffrey, let's book you an appointment." Jeffrey.
Yeah.
So he said, I don't want, I want it to repeat exactly, what the person said, right? So to my point of little nuance, there's going to be a lot of that, right?
Okay.
Absolutely. We have with our bigger HVAC clients that are getting hundreds of calls a day, there's so many variations of how calls should go, right? Hey, tweak the AI so this technician now is responsible for these zip codes versus that. This is how we want you reacting to this scenario. I do think over time, we're probably going to introduce some technology where we get a call where the AI wasn't quite certain. We're going to probably send an automated response to the client with the call and say, "Hey, this is how the AI handled it. Type back what you want, how you want us to handle this going forward."
Yeah.
So we ideally train our AI like somebody is training their own human CSR.
Okay.
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 That's kind of the thought process.
Okay.
Uh, because I could certainly say, you know, like me, Charlie or Charles, right?
Yeah.
I could see, hey, my name's Charlie. Okay, Charles, or people do that. I know people do that. So it's
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
call me Charlie.
Yeah.
So it's not that like different than how normal people are interacting. It's just you got to train it to, okay, got it. Nope. When it prompts Jeff, in Jeff, out Jeff. Um, so, just a little
Yeah.
small example. And this is a big business. And he caught that one little thing. He's like, nope, it said Jeff, I want Jeff, whatever it was. We see that all the time. So,
Like realistically, during your onboarding process, how long does it take to kind of hone in on that and sort of do that with the
yeah,
client?
it depends. I mean, we have some smaller companies that are getting, a handful of calls a day that they just want, basically answering services to book within a Google Calendar.
Okay.
Those can take 3 to 5 days. And then we get companies with 100 calls a day, and onboarding could take 4 to 6 weeks. Because there's a lot of input into a service titan that take time and trial and error and coaching and development. And typically, there's a lot of people listening to these calls, and so there'll be multiple sets of feedback per call. And so we've
Okay.
got to accommodate all that. But anywhere, Caleb, from 3 days to 6 weeks is kind of what we're seeing.
So let me just kind of clarify exactly what the AI does here, just to make sure that, I'm on the same page and the listeners are on the same page as well. Whenever a new lead comes in or somebody says, hey, I need to get my roof repaired or something like that, okay, they'll work out the times, go into Drip Jobs, go into Service Titan and all your other partners that you integrate with, schedule that appointment, set them up. So if Susan needs you to come out to look at painting her cabinets, she'll be scheduled on Tuesday or whatever. They will confirm, and that will all integrate directly into the CRM if it's one of your partners, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. And
Okay.
not to plug it here, but we've got a great website, freetogrow.com, and you can go to some of the CRM drop downs, and we have live videos of a member of our team calling in to kind of a fictional line, and you can see in real time a call being taken and then booked within a Service Titan, a Drip Jobs, a Field Pulse, whatever that is.
Yeah, guys, if you're watching or listening, I'll leave a link below so you guys can go check that out. They got a couple videos there of like, how a call actually goes. It's really cool, it's you can see the future on what AI is looking like. So yeah, if you want to check those out after the show's over, go take a look. There's definitely a lot of cool stuff out there. Is there anything that like, maybe you guys are sort of developing behind the scenes or anything like any new developments in AI that you guys are kind of working on here?
Yeah, we're always improving the core product. We're always trying. So two things we're trying to really do well, like we talked about before this, client onboarding is key, right? this is the first time generally that people have not been using some other person to answer their phones, whether that's an in-house CSR or a call center or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of hand-holding, right? And there's
Yeah.
a lot of newness. Um, and there's a lot of, get the number live, do the CRM integration, do the testing, tweak it, improve it. Before you know it, like 30 days, things are starting to hum and get pretty good.
Yeah.
So client onboarding is key, and then kind of coming up with new, very home service specific entities. Like we have this advanced after hours, which was brought by our clients, right? All of our innovation and technological development driven by clients and their feedback, right?
Okay.
Hey, it'd be cool, guys, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, AI takes a phone call, and you could play back and forth between the client needing somebody out there at 2 a.m. and our on-call technician, right? And so we do that. So we will client will call in, my basement's flooding. Okay, let me confirm that our on-call technician can be on there. Are you okay with the $299 service fee? Okay, I am. Okay, bye. And then the AI will place an outbound call to the technician. Technician can confirm it, and then AI is going to call the customer back and say, "Got it. Confirm with the technician. He's on his way."
Okay.
Okay, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's like home servicey, very refined. We had a couple cool suggestions today from this week from another client, looking at like seasonality of the business with outbound calling, and could there be some stuff that we do there?
Yeah.
So it's going to probably just continue to be updates that clients want.
Okay.
Um, hey, I heard a call today that was really cool. Maybe you guys can do, like a follow-up on these types of calls. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, something to consider. But we have to get the core product right. So the core product right now is this inbound answering, scheduling, CRM integration, capturing data accurately. So the owner isn't having to go in there and, Caleb with a C was Caleb with a K and the wrong email and all that stuff. So getting that right is critical.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So I was hoping we could go to fantasy land for a second here and like talk
Sure.
like 20 years in the future. Like what do you think like something like this could even potentially look like?
I think it's going to be a pretty darn close, 1-to-1 CSR as far as like capabilities
Yeah.
on the
Okay.
inbound and outbound. Okay. Um, People at that point, I think people in the next 18 to 24 months are going to be much more open to talking to AI.
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of my time. Maybe that's still aggressive, but it's just like you said, ordering pizza. It's just, every other ad on TV now is something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's getting more and more that way. Um, it's a great question, man. I don't, 20 years, I don't know. I think there's going to be companies like it's going to be just like CRMs, I think. You're going to have individual CRMs that are very focused on certain niches and products and, and owner operator types that it's just going to formulate that way. Now, what the AI is going to be able to do in 20 years, I don't know. Um, it's from when we started in April to where we are now. I was blown away in April, and then I hear calls now where I'm like, man, frightening. It's so good.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a really tough one. 20 years is a long time. I think in the next 2 years, my thing is that under 5% of home service owner operators are doing this now. I think that needle is going to go boop the other way,
Cool.
um, probably pretty quickly. Um,
What stage of business do you notice people are kind of starting to operate or test this out, try this out? Because I mean, truthfully, I don't think that this is the right fit for everybody at every stage of business.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I guess, kind of the question is who's really implementing this? Is this just like the top guys in their markets? Is this kind of everybody? And I guess a follow-up to that would be who would be a good fit to do this? Like there's obviously, a right fit for somebody to have this service. What would that person look like?
I mean, you want decent call volume. Decent is going to be industry to industry. Um, if you're just starting out and you're getting one or two calls a day and you're holding on to every phone call, I wouldn't do it. Right. Um, if you're starting to miss calls, you're in the truck and you're playing, you're talking to clients and you're trying to get invoices out and you're trying to go to the baseball game in the afternoon, you're missing stuff. That I think it's when you're like starting to get help. Think about help, right? The same way if you're thinking, man, I could go out and hire a CSR right now, you know, do I want to do that or can I start to leverage technology? I think that is a good ballpark for you. Um, is it one truck, three trucks, 10 trucks? We have one truck clients, we've got 50 truck clients, all looking at it for different things. I think it's when you're at that point where you're missing stuff's starting to fall through the cracks that I would start to look at this. And from a cost perspective, it's going to be significantly more cost effective than hiring somebody. Okay. It just, that's going to be the hard to avoidness of this is going to be, the 200 to 500 bucks a month that this system costs versus, 3 to 4 thousand to hire, train, manage
Yeah.
a CSR.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that makes sense. And is this something that you can kind of see getting cheaper over time?
I do. I think minutes are going to get cheaper and cheaper. Right now, it's kind of a base rate plus minutes. I think people ultimately, this is just my opinion, are going to pay for a service and a level of technology that produces. And the minutes, like your minutes on your home phone or landline, are going to be non-existent.
Yeah.
I also think it could democratize, good customer service, right? So you get these big HVAC companies that have 30 CSRs and they can do training and they can hire the best, CSR consultants. That may not be as important now because if this technology can like do that and monitor itself and come up with, coachable results that work for AI that produce high booking rates, et cetera,
Yeah.
you know, Joe the plumber could have access cost competitively to the same technology that, $100 million HVAC company has. It could be interesting. It really could.
Yeah, that's a good point. And
Yeah.
I think that's something that can be super beneficial to the people who are at maybe the one, two, three employee mark, small to mid-size, like they just don't have that customer service team. And
Yeah.
that's really gonna, put more appointments on the calendar, help with scheduling, making sure. I mean, just the fact that you can be open longer or open during different times because you can take
Yeah.
those calls. Your Google ads can come in at different times. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
what we notice that a lot of times, at least in a lot of the Facebook ads that we run, people are coming in like usually after hours. If they're looking at like a painting project or refinishing their cabinets or something like that, they're not doing that like in the middle of the workday. It's like after work when they're scrolling on their phone, looking around at stuff that then they inquire about a service like that. And
Yeah.
obviously, everyone knows speed to lead is like uber important. So
Yeah.
if you don't have somebody there to contact, right away to field that call, you're probably just gonna call someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It goes back to the chicken and egg thing here. At some point, it's going to get good enough where you're probably going to have to introduce it as AI, right? I think that'll be legislated over time. This is Caleb. I'm the AI bot for, Caleb's plumbing. Just how can I help you? I think that's probably coming sooner than later. But yeah, we can all tell. We've all called those home service guys and gals that never answer and phone rings 20 times and they never call you back. This is a much better solution to that. And even those 5 button IVRs you've got to push,
Yeah,
hands down, better. Hands down, not even close.
yeah,
Right now. So
yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of, just like a good decent amount of customer service, helps you book more appointments, get more leads, get more referrals, more people on the calendar, and make more money.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well said.
There's some of the calls I listen to for like some of my clients if they like take their own calls or something. It's funny, man. They'll answer the phone. They're like, "Hello." I'm like, "Dude, like say the name of your business or something."
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is like, yeah, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Who are
Yeah.
you? Yeah. That's funny, but yeah, It goes a long way, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it could be good. You could create some standards and call capture and data capture and these people are also generally not good at putting stuff into a CRM, right? And so you pay $400 a month, whatever it is for your CRM, and to your point of garbage in, garbage out, it's all crap in there, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
you're updating it. Oh, was that guy? Where'd that lead come from? Was that
Mhm.
email marketing? Was that Facebook? And gone.
Yeah.
So
And all of these things kind of like play off of each other too. Like if you are working with somebody else or an agency or something like that, that's, doing
yeah,
some of these things for you, the more
right.
data you have in your CRM, the more accurate data, it
Yeah,
really, really, really helps the whole team be more efficient, be more smooth. Like,
I
uh,
agree more.
that's something that we always look at for like every single lead that comes in is okay, where did this person come from? Are they a good lead? Are they a bad lead? What happened at the estimate? Did they close? Like if we could like listen to every call, like
Yeah,
that's awesome because then we can kind of gauge are they actually qualified, and so on. So that information helps everybody on the team just do a better job. And
yeah,
without accurate information in the CRM, it's hard to like do certain things like marketing or whatever because you don't really have any direction.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's I think something like that would, not only help the business owner, not only help field more calls, but help, in other areas. Like I could see this being beneficial for your bookkeeper because
yeah,
the pricing is tracked accurately so that you don't have to go through at the end of the year and pull out this shoebox full of invoices and do everything and waste 4 days doing all that. Like it's
yeah.
all done for you. Like
So,
I could see that being a good pivot here. Yeah, but very, very beneficial, very helpful. Um, if somebody's kind of watching this or listening and they're like, all right, you know what? Let me learn a little bit more. Uh, where would be a great spot for them to go? Would that be like your website? Would that be sending an email? I
our
saw you
website is
have a demo
great.
on there.
We have a demo number you can try. It's free. You can kind of ask it questions and try it out. And then I would do a demo. My partner Nathan he's our chief sales officer, does our demo. And what we'll do is we'll get your website address and we'll scrape some information and kind of create a customized demo for Caleb's painting company, whatever. And, we'll do a live demo and you can kind of pressure test it. And we'll keep that line open. So you, your spouse, your team can test that for, a couple weeks. I would start there and get comfortable that way.
Yeah,
And I think, frankly, it's a good kind of time of year to do it. Probably generally slower across the trades right now. People kind of looking at 2025 and budgeting and what can we do to save cost or increase consistency and productivity. And I think one thing AI is going to do is really increase the kind of consistency, productivity, cost effectiveness. Where you know, generating leads is expensive and important, and putting money to stuff that's going to be more strategic is what you got to do. Hiring good people or paying your best painter more or whatever.
absolutely.
And if you can introduce a cost-effective way to consistently capture calls and leads and put that money to work, like when I sold my company, I was like, man, what could I have done better? And that's the reason I started Free to Grow is I felt like I had a 40-hour CSR and I was using her 20 hours a week.
Yeah,
And then you do the math there, you're like, man, that's a lot of money spread out over 5 years.
yeah,
It really adds up.
yeah.
So
So here's what I'll do. I'm gonna leave a link to Free to Grow in the description, in the show notes, if you're listening on the podcast, and go check it out. Just listen to one of those calls, take a look and see if it integrates with your CRM. For no other reason besides it's just really cool to see, what's going on, what some of your competitors are doing, and where it's going. And if you think you want to learn a little bit more, check out Charlie here. On this call and like great phenomenal guy. We got a chance to chat a couple times before this, and super cool family man. I'd love for you to meet him just to see what they can do for you. So check it out if that is something that interests you, and if not, then maybe give them a follow on social media. I'm sure they got some cool updates coming out here shortly, right?
we do. Thanks, Caleb, for having me.
Thank you, and see you all guys later.